All right, we're going to talk about opposite sex friendships. Can your partner have friends of the opposite sex? What if they were friends before you guys started dating? Is it okay? Do you guys have rules going forward? No opposite sex friends from this point forward or at all? Do they have to cut friendships? Like, what's your views on it?
So, growing up, like teenage years, most of my friends were guys. I had some friends that were girls. I feel like I always got along better with guys because they weren't catty, they weren't jealous, like they weren't weird. Well, no, they were definitely weird, just in a different way. So, one relationship that I was in shortly after high school, like late teens, this guy was controlling as hell. He was abusive. Like, I pretty much lost all my friends, guys and girls, with him. He didn't have any friends, so I didn't have to worry about him, cutting ties with any of his lady friends or male friends, really. Just nobody liked him. That should have been a flag. By the time my ex-husband and I started dating, I had guy friends that I had, maintained friendships with, like, after high school or whatever, MySpace, Facebook. These are, obviously good ways to stay in touch with people. Something that he said that stuck out to me was guy-girl friendships don't work. Any guy that says, oh, we're friends, he's thinking about one thing, he just wants to get in your pants, or he's thinking about getting in your pants. And I was like, no, that's not true. But some of those friendships that I had, like in the workplace, for example, because people joke about, oh, my work wife, my work husband, or whatever. Like, some of these people are actually married. And there were a few instances, like, in the workplace where I was like, we are just friends. Like, you're not thinking about getting in my pants, right? Obviously, I didn't say that in the workplace. But I had to kind of take a step back a little bit from some of those work friendships because it was getting a little weird.
Yeah. I'm totally on his side with that. Okay, so here's my thoughts. How did you guys start talking if there wasn't an attraction there? Like, unless it was like a high school friendship or maybe even a workplace friendship, outside of those, like, exceptions, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
she talked to you or you talked to him because you found each other attractive. I feel like a lot of people are going to disagree with me, but I think, yeah, in the work wife, work husband thing, that would bother me if my husband was at work saying that.
Oh, yeah. I agree with that. I don't think that the term husband or wife should be used outside of the confines of your actual marriage. I would say work bestie, talking about chicks. Like, I wouldn't call a dude my work bestie, though, But even, like, if you and I worked in an office together, I still wouldn't call you my work wife. It just seems weird to me. I don't know.
It's like a respect boundary that gets crossed.
Yes, I would agree with that. And I wouldn't want to find out that my ex-husband was, and I mean, he's an electrician, worked on job sites. So I wouldn't want to, number one, find out he was calling anybody his work wife because of the respect issue, but also because I can't tell you how many times he, like, came home from work, would be talking about a woman that worked on their job site or whatever. And I was like, he almost felt like he had to be like, she's not attractive, before I would even, like, have a chance to wonder or get, she's not attractive. Like, she's a job site 5, which, if you know the construction industry, like, that puts her at, like, a real world 2.
My God.
Or he'd be like, oh yeah, she's old. I think she might even be a lesbian. Stereotyping, dude.
Yeah. So one thing that makes me feel better when my husband's talking about women friends at work is, like, he kind of tells me about them.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels almost like they're, in a weird way, almost my friend too, because I know about them. Like, I know about their life and who they are and their names, and that makes me feel better.
Yeah, so it's not just like some mystery character that he spends 40 hours a week with.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, like, having that open communication about that is key to, like, negating any possible insecurities or, trust issues. Mm-hmm. So something that my ex really respected and appreciated about me was in the workplace. Like, anytime I would be taking a promotion and starting with a new department or even starting at a new company over the years, I talked about him to all of the dudes on my team. I would have, like, amazing things to say about my family, my husband, how we met, our first date. We knew we were going to get married on our first date. Like, and it wasn't like intentionally to shut down any sort of a friendship, but it was something that just came really naturally to me. I didn't even realize I was doing it until he pointed it out at a work function that he was at. And he was like, all of these guys are like, I feel like I know you, man.
Yes.
And he's like, that is awesome. You know, anytime someone new starts on your team, oh, hi, Amanda. Yeah, let me tell you all about my husband before I tell you anything about me. You know? I think that having that sort of approach to it can make it a lot easier to look at it as a friendship, because it's not like, oh, I don't talk about my personal life. No, I'm going to tell you all about my home life and how happy I is. You know? So for situations like that, I do think it's possible to maintain a friendship with colleagues. And most of the teams that I've worked on over the years work very closely together, and we're like family. You know, I've been through a couple different situations where our department has dissolved, and, you know, we all have to go our separate ways at new companies or, you know, to different departments, and we're all still really close. So
yeah, that's awesome. When I do have a job, you're outgoing. I'm introvert. Like, I prefer don't even make eye contact with me. If I'm walking, most of the time it's with my head down because I don't want conversation with people. So, when I work in my kids' school, most of it's females, but there are occasional males. I'm going to be honest, I don't even try to have a conversation. Like, and it's not because I fear that I'm going to put off some wrong vibe. It's just, if the issue's not even around me to be, then it's not there, and it's not something I even have to worry about at the end of the day. Like,
right.
If he feels some type of way, I don't want to make him feel some type of way. I love him to death. I just avoid it, but it's easy for me because I'm introverted.
The muscles I built having to pull you out of your shell in the beginning of our friendship, you ain't getting rid of me. I'm gonna make you love me. Oh, but once you got to know me, it was minimal effort.
It's so hard making friends as an adult, and because I feel like my views are so different and odd compared to others, and stuff I just prefer to stay alone.
To sit by yourself and your crazy views.
Well, and then, like, I'll be having a conversation with people, and I'll think about that conversation for the next week. Like, did I say something weird? Or, oh God, are they going to talk to me again? I don't even want to deal with that.
Sit in it and overanalyze it, and pick it apart. I should have said this.
I don't want to deal with it, yeah. Or, like, I'll be out and somebody will say something to me, and I'll have, like, this stupid comment back, like, they'll tell me to have a good day, and I'll say, okay, thank you, you too, or, no, that's the right thing to say. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness. They're like, how's your day going?
Thanks,
You're
you
like,
too.
oh. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, no, that's not me. Well, and I feel like, too, having it be harder to make friends, being a stay-at-home mom, there's fewer opportunities for it. I feel like probably most of the social interactions that you have are with, like, parents of your kids' friends, or, you know, interactions with strangers at a gymnastics class, or, you know, just some of the extracurriculars. And it's hard to put yourself out there for that. I feel like only because especially if you overanalyze it, if you're worried, like, oh, should I say hi? Like, should I try to strike up a conversation? But if that parent is like you and doesn't even want to make eye contact, I think it's that fear of rejection too. Yes. Like, okay, well, this was fun. Let's not ever do it again.
Yes, and I don't. Like, I've tried making friends with, like, my kids' friends' parents, and I just get, like, a vibe that they don't want that, and I've gotten it with a couple, so I don't try anymore. Yeah. And then I prefer it that way, because then if we don't get along, it doesn't ruin the kids' friendship.
Absolutely. Yeah. My daughter, being as young as what she is, you know, in kindergarten, I think over the next couple of years, maybe, as she starts interacting more socially with people, and then there's let's do a play date, and she's coming home with a parent's phone number in her backpack, like, oh, can you get in touch with so-and-so's mom? Like, I think that's going to be a little more frequent for me, but the only real interaction I've had with it now was a little girl in her pre-K class. And they were, like, best of friends, and her dad and I were, like, always picking up at the same time. He tried to, like, hey, let's schedule a play date. Let's get these girls together, since neither one of them will stop talking about it, you know? So he wrote his number down, gave it to me. I gave him my number, and he's like, yeah, you know, next break, winter, spring, whatever, we'll try to get something set up. Well, the way that my custody schedule is, I'm like, we've got limited time for that. She's going to be with her dad this week, I'll have her this week, same thing with spring break. That kind of fell by the wayside. Christmas break came and went, didn't get the kids together. And then for spring break this year, her mom actually texted me and was like, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm your daughter's friend's mom. Wanted to try to get these girls together since my daughter just keeps hounding me about it. Can you get together on Sunday at 1? And I'm like looking at the calendar, I'm like, I literally just told your husband this was the week that she's with her dad. And I get it. Maybe he didn't remember. Maybe he didn't relay that or, whatnot. She's like, oh, if this time doesn't work, we'll get something else set up. I'm like, okay. Yeah, so she's actually with her dad that Sunday. Like, what else works for you? And she's like, I don't know. I'll look at the calendar and I'll get back to you. Oh, yeah. Never heard from her again. So I feel like maybe that was the opportunity. Because, some parents are like, oh, yeah, I'll try. Oh, we'll see. Maybe they're just not in it. And that's okay.
Well, and then, too, you would really try to get them together. But on their side, seeing it, maybe they think that you don't want the social.
It's possible. I don't know. It's hard.
It is hard. So, was the dad texting you about breaks and getting together until spring break?
No. So, I didn't put his number in my phone. I'm sure he probably didn't put my number in his phone. He probably just handed the paper to his wife. And I was not, just out of respect, going to be the first one to text this husband.
Yeah.
Because when I'm sitting here talking to the husband about, oh yeah, her dad and I are divorced, so this is how the visitations and the schedules work and all that. Like, I'm not going to be the divorced mom that's like texting another woman's husband. Maybe he should have written down his wife's phone number for me.
Yeah. I would be upset if Austin, but I think he knows. He would know. He would get my number out. But, I'm really surprised at the amount of married parents that the dads actually do that, because my son had a friend and it was the dad I had to get a hold of to schedule play dates. And the dad would reach out to me to schedule these play dates. And the parents ended up getting divorced, and the mom ended up actually taking me off of Facebook, and I thought it was because...
Oh my God.
Yeah, because her husband's texting me about play dates, but, I'm married. I don't want your man. But, I don't know. She ended up adding me back after they got divorced, because she did end up reaching out to me one time, but anytime he wants to get the boys together, he's the one I hear from.
I don't know. I feel like that's awkward. Unless you, like, as families have hung out together, like, both moms and dads, like, I don't know. I'm not sure how I would feel. And, I'm a pretty secure person. Like, I always trusted my ex-husband. Like, there was never anything funky that was happening that I was like, oh, what is this number that's texting you? But I do feel like if we were still married and that mom was texting him, he would be the first one to be like, oh, here's my wife's number. You need to coordinate with her.
I don't know. I want to hear everyone else's thoughts on it. Like, has this happened to you before? How did it make you feel? Are you guys okay with opposite sex friendships and stuff within your marriage?
And that communication back and forth with other couples, maybe even if you're friends with them or if they're an acquaintance, you're curious, let us know.